Considering that this will be the last full budget of the present government and the state of the global economy, it is expected that the government will tread carefully and will not announce any big bang tax reforms. However, one remains optimistic that certain pain points of the common taxpayers in the industry would be addressed. On the other hand, what is pretty certain is that some policy announcements would be made to continue to project India as an attractive investment destination. The India story has remained to be there with the global investor community. Further, the buoyant tax collection indicates that the effects of the pandemic and the global slowdown has not really affected as far as the Indian economy is concerned. In the last few years, government has announced several incentives and benefits for the manufacturing sector, but perhaps now it's the time to work on our strengths. As far as the Indian economy is concerned, it is an undeniable fact that the service sector contributes more and is a much bigger employment generator. The 15% tax regime, which is presently available only to new manufacturing companies, could be made available to the service sector also. This will go a long way in increasing investments and generation of employment in the sector. Such a beneficial tax regime can be made or linked to the amount of capital investment that is made or the amount of jobs that it gets created. This will go ahead in having a very focused agenda towards capital raise as well as employment generation. To encourage M&A activities in the service sector, the losses, the carry forward of losses and depreciation could be made available to the sector also. One also hopes that a fast track window is being created for tax approvals such as Section 281 or lower withholding, as transactions are very time sensitive. While the recently announced overseas investment regulations are welcome, certain incentives could also be announced for the reverse flipping of the structures. While the recently announced overseas investment regulations are welcome, one would expect that there are some policy announcements are being made for establishment of family office structures from India rather than letting the HNIs leave India. Tax exemptions are also expected by the industry with respect to acquisitions being made through the insolvency process. Such exemptions could be not taxing at all basis the deemed value or prescriptive value of the assets received during the insolvency process. Further, one would hope that the haircuts and the loan write-offs, write-backs are not taxed at all to any of the parties in an acquisition process through the insolvency process. This government has shown the resolve to have a very tax-friendly environment, and one hopes that even in the present budget, a balance will be reached between the fiscal realities and the key demands of the industry so that India continues to shine as the brightest star amongst the global investor community.